Good morning. I'm Megan Gallagher, Vice President of the Board, and I'd like to welcome you here to our Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist Sunday service. I invite you to read your community connections that arrive Thursday in your inbox. They're filled with dates and reports and calendars and information. And if you want anybody to walk you through how to get to the calendar, we're happy to do that. We have In-Gathering Sunday coming up September 1st with our wonderful choir. And choir rehearsals start August 29th. Coming up this month, if you want a meeting, we have meetings. Look for those meetings and events in your community connections and on our Monte Vista UU website. Coming up, we have a Board of Trustees meeting on Tuesday, August 20th at 10:30 on-site and online. Regular meetings are open, and if you would like to address the board, please contact Debbie Skirdo, our board president. After service today is a spiritual life team meeting in the Founders Room. Founders Room? Thanks. And then Tuesday is Taco Tuesday online. Green Sanctuary is Wednesday on Zoom. And on Wednesday, gathering around grief at 7 here in the Founders Room. Is that also online?
No, we don't.
No, it's just here. Okay, just here. And now we're very happy to have Reverend Maggie Yenoki back in the pulpit today.
Thank you, Megan. And thank you, everyone. Boy, it is so good to be back, but it was so good to go. I gotta tell you. I had a wonderful time with my grandson and my son, of course. He always gets second billing now. Sorry, Nick. Sorry, Nick. I also want to offer a greeting to those who are joining us on Zoom. I have my little Zoom screen here, but I don't have the list of participants. But hello to everyone who is there. And welcome on this full moon Sunday. They always seem to, after all my years serving as a chaplain and working in hospitals, you just know what schedule those full moons are on. And let me just say, anyone who follows me on Facebook, I built up this cute Venn diagram. Who knows when it's a full moon? Witches, werewolves, and nurses. So I have a friend that's a chaplain who said to me, well, we really need to put chaplains on there. I go, most chaplains are either witches or werewolves, so yeah, that's okay. But I had a great time. Of course, my grandson turned 5. He says, I'm not a baby anymore, Grammy. I'm 5. I'm a kid. I'm like, oh, sweet. So sweet. And then my 50th high school reunion, I don't know how that happened. Right, Lynn Maria? We could maybe share, yeah. It's hard, but it's so wonderful. What an incredible time to be alive and to be touching back in with people that you knew from kindergarten. I'm like, man, kindergarten. That's like 63 years ago, not 50, but beyond that. So something that didn't happen when I was away is that you guys didn't sing happy birthday to anyone with a birthday in August. So let's have a hand raising for who was born in August. Robert! Oh, look at all these hands. Oh, Reverend Ellen. That's right. Yeah. How awesome. So let's do that. Let's clear our throats and let Lily lead us in a great happy birthday August babies when we get to the name part, okay? Lily? Happy birthday. The choir up here for next month, so they're always a great, yeah. We like to open our service with a ringing of the bowl. When we ring it 3 times, once honoring yesterday and inviting in the ancestors. Once celebrating today and opening ourselves to greater gratitude. And once awaiting and incubating a brighter tomorrow. It is good to be here together. It is. I'd like to invite Carissa Moore up, our congregation's treasurer. We bow with gratitude. She will light our chalices today. The time that we dedicate to being together in worship is really interwoven intimately with our daily lives. And as a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with a flame that reflects the light of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Please hear the words of Michael de Vernon Bablet in this responsorial ritual that he titled, "We Are Not Alone." The response of the congregation is the same as the title, "We Are Not Alone." We are this flame, ancient as the stars, new as a vulnerable spark. We are this chalice, rimmed by the spiral dance of our seeking and searching. We are the light soaring, the shadow deepening, the dance between them. We are the heirs of the tribes and their fires, the healers in their circles. We are here. We are here for ourselves, and we are here for each other, and blessings. I invite you to stand as you're comfortable and able, and we will sing our invocation, inviting the Spirit of life to come here and be with us today. We'll sing 2 verses, first in English and then in Spanish. And afterward, we'll read our covenant together. Please stand. For the congregation, we affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. Our search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian, Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Please be seated and make yourselves comfortable. We have a great wisdom tale that will be presented by Robert Tidwell.
Today's story is by Patrice Karst with illustrations by Joanne Lou Rythoff. It's called The Invisible String. Liza and Jeremy, the twins, were asleep one calm and quiet night. Suddenly it began to rain very hard. Thunder rumbled until it got so loud that it woke them up. "Mommy, Mommy," they cried as they ran to her. "Don't worry, you two. It's just the storm making all that noise. Go back to bed." "We want to stay close to you," said Jeremy. "We're scared." Mom said, "You know, we're always together, no matter what." "But how can we be together when you're out here and we're in bed?" asked Liza. Mom held something right in front of them and said, "This is how." Rubbing their sleepy eyes, the twins came together to see what Mom was holding. "I was about your age when my mommy first told me about the invisible string." "I don't see a string," said Jeremy. "You don't need to see the invisible string. People who love each other are always connected by a very special string made of love." "But if you can't see it, how do you know it's there?" asked Liza. "Even though you can't see it with your eyes, you can feel it with your heart and know that you are always connected to everyone you love. When you're at school and you miss me, your love travels all the way along the string until I feel it tug on my heart. And when you tug it right back, we feel it in our hearts," said Jeremy. "Does Jasper the cat have an invisible string?" Liza asked. "She sure does," said Mom. "And best friends like me and Lucy?" asked Liza. "Best friends too." "How far can the string reach?" "Anywhere and everywhere," Mom said. "Would it reach me even if I were a submarine captain deep in the ocean?" asked Jeremy. "Yes," Mom said, "even there." "Or a mountain climber?" "Even there." "A dancer in France?" "Even there." "A jungle explorer?" "Even there." "How about an astronaut out in space?" "Yes, even there." Then Jeremy asked quietly, "Can my string reach all the way to Uncle Brian in heaven?" "Yeah, even there." "Does the string go away when you're mad at us?" "Never," said Mom. "Love is stronger than anger, and as long as love is in your heart, the string will always be there. Even when you get older and can't agree about things like what movie to see or what game to play in the back seat or what time we should go to bed. Oh, that's right, you two should be in bed." And with that, they all laughed as Mom chased the twins back to their bed. Within a few minutes, they were asleep, even though the storm was still making the same loud noises outside. As they slept, they started dreaming of all the invisible strings they have, and all the strings their friends have, and their friends have, until everyone in the world was connected by the invisible string. And from deep inside, they now could clearly see it. And no one is ever alone. And there's some really great illustrations. The last one is of like an aurora borealis that makes a heart. So you guys should look at it. I can't show it on the Zoom, but you should look at it on the back table. And now we will go to our class. You guys can sing us out.
Bye, Brooklyn. Have a great class. Adorable. As a long-standing ritual of this congregation, we gather in offering during our weekly worship. We do well to remind ourselves that the offering is spiritually symbolic. It's a time for meaningful reflection of the gifts we bring. But as a part of our worship, we engage in the ritual of bringing forward our offerings to make a communal expression of the support that we bring to our community. Our offering says that the act of giving is essential to our spiritual well-being, and it is as meaningful as anything else that we do here on Sunday mornings. Here at Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation, we also choose to share 50% of the offerings that we gather that are not restricted to fulfill pledges with a local charity that aligns with our values. It was pre-selected by the justice team and approved by the board. For the month of August, we dedicate our Share the Plate to the good work of Aging Next. I invite you to now come forward with your generous offerings, given and received in a spirit of grateful fellowship. Lily? Beautiful. Sharing the joys and concerns in our lives is an important part of being in community. There are many things that are going on for us that we don't care to share, but we walk carrying quite a bit. Sometimes our backpack is overloaded. So we will share in a ritual after our meditation and prayer. Yes, one more. Always. Thanks. Yeah. We do have these notes for those who are visiting. If there's anything that you want us to be thinking about or mention to the congregation, please go ahead and fill one out and put it in the basket. So we will have a little bit of quiet meditation, very short, and then a prayer. Then I'll invite you into a ritual. Let me explain it now, before I read some of these beautiful messages we have here. Our theme today is invisible threads, the invisible string, like the story, but with the threads and the unseen strands that bind us. Our ritual today will also include strands. These strands were made from used saris from women in India. It's something I bought online, but I just love the idea that this very fabric was worn by a woman in India at one time. So you will come forward, take a strand from the basket there, put your intentions, your prayers, however, your energies, your love into the strand, and then come and tie it. Sorry, I shouldn't walk away from the microphone. Come and tie it on this string that we've put up here. So you'll see after the ritual how beautiful it will be. And there's a tradition in the land where I came from, the land of Ireland. We call it a raggedy bush. And what you do is tie a prayer piece of a prayer string or a prayer flag onto a tree, and the wind blows it and takes the prayers to where they need to go. I don't know if Megan, if you saw any when you were there, they're usually by the side of the road, and you can just stop and add a string to it. You'll see they are all different ages on the tree. So we're going to make a raggedy bush of our own, okay? I'll show you. I'll just tie it on. And you'll be adding yours soon. Let me read the joys and concerns that were in the basket. And I didn't really sort these out between joys or sorrows, so I do invite you to go with me on a little ride. This one says, "Hooray for Pat and me." This is from Betsy Pettit. On August 22nd, we will celebrate our 54th anniversary. Wow, how beautiful. That's incredible, beautiful. We'll celebrate with you. And this one's from Thorn. A little bit complicated, maybe it's both a joy and a concern. Thorn writes to us, "Ask me for info after the service. Thank you, Thorn West." This is from Jill Rigel. "I ask for prayers for my friend Linda and her brother Don, who had a serious heart attack. He's in a coma." So for them both, for Jill. And one from Reverend Ellen. Where is she? There she is. She says it's a joy. "It is a new day in America." Yeah, in many ways. In many ways, you're right. And this is from Debbie Skirdo. This one, it's kind of heavy. So please bear with this one and carry it with you. This is actually part of the string I just tied. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing this information. "Please keep our dear friend and member, part of our family, Terry McGuire." Yeah. And in our world, there was a terrible earthquake in Russia yesterday, a 7.0. I never was able to connect and see anything in the news about, what the impact was for those who are living nearby. But let's hold Russia in our thoughts and prayers today as well. And now I'd like you to, let's exhale. Shake a little bit. Put our feet flat on the floor. Let your hands rest as comfortable as you can in your lap. Just exhale. Let's not control our breathing or try to synchronize it. Let's just notice it as if it's a gift. Our breathing is a gift. It's not something we think about or do with any kind of intention all the time, but there it is, coming in and out. We're grateful for it. And as we rest here, we offer our hope for healing for all who are in need, for those who come to mind, for that is no coincidence. And for the longings that often tumble about in the beautiful dark ventricles of our own hearts. Let the healing touch of welcomed relief find you, whether you feel you need it or not. Let the healing power that is unnamed find you, right where you are and how you are. In this precise moment of both unacknowledged and unfamiliar struggle, in this time of uncertain tomorrows, let healing come into your life in a way that you recognize by its spirit presence, but cannot define with the 26 letters at our disposal. Let the spirit of life come and comfort you. Let it strengthen you. In receiving this healing in your own way, channeling it into your life where you need it most. Even if you don't know where that is, let it work for you. Let it restore you. Let it land softly like a monarch, or crash down hard like a bull elephant, stomping with purpose into your life for yourself, for others, for family, for friends, for animals, for trees, for insects, for oceans, for the four winds, for our enemies, and for politicians. Our compassionate outpouring ache for hope and healing does not need to be used sparingly. It is abundant. An unseen strand woven deep within, sourced from a deep well, from a forgotten headwater that is never depleted. Embrace any and all healing as it comes to you, entering through the window of your heart and catching you by surprise, like a sudden cool breeze after a hot day, and like a memory of love, like a gift that could not have come at a better time. For your intentions are seeds of creation. Let them find fertile ground. Blessed be. I invite you to come participate in the ritual. The basket is filled with the strands of cloth. I know there's not much time for those 2 steps up to the line, but you can quickly fill it with your energies and your prayers and tie it on our string of prayer flags. We will just sing the melody for meditation on breathing. It's from our teal hymnal. And we'll just sing it through twice. I have a treat for you today. We will have our reading today. It's called Kinship with the World, and it will be shared for us by Lynn Maria Smith.
Thank you. Kinship with the World by Linda Susan Ulrich. Last spring, whenever I drove home from work, I'd keep an eye out for the being I came to call my bird friend. The lake I pass daily has part of a submerged tree. It barely sticks up out of the water, visible for a few seconds during a break in the shrubs and trees. And almost every day, I'd see a heron hanging out on this piece of wood, folded in on itself like an origami puzzle. Nature's persistence in the midst of a city always makes me feel more connected to the world beyond my skin. As spring turned to summer and summer turned to fall, I didn't always see the bird. At some point, I realized it must have headed south for the winter. Yet, I kept looking. For those few moments, edging around the curve with a clear view, I searched for my bird friend. Even after the weather turned cold, even after the lake was topped with ice, even after my logical brain knew for sure I wouldn't see it, I kept searching as an act of faith. Then one late winter day, I came around the corner and saw birds in the lake, but they were a pair of swans far in the distance. A few days later, more birds appeared. Alas, this time was a family of geese sitting atop a frozen sheet of ice where the edge met open water. I have no idea whether my bird friend will be back. Perhaps it found a mate and happily settled down to raise a family by some other body of water. Perhaps something happened to it during migration. Perhaps another bird has taken over the territory. In the midst of all these uncertainties, I kept searching for my bird friend, my kin, knowing we belong to each other and to this beautiful world. May we feel our interrelatedness with all beings on earth, both human and non-human. May we remember always the belonging that is ours simply because we were born. May we place our faith in the strength of those connections. Blessed be.
That was beautiful. Yeah, I don't like that plant there. Lily and I, we enjoy our eye contact throughout the service, so that won't be there next week. For so many of us, our lives have flourished in brilliant ways because of the nourishment that we've received over the years from the principles that have been a part of the Unitarian Universalist historical tradition for most of our lives. It's hard to describe where they're located exactly, but to use the lens of the Prego spaghetti sauce commercial from 1985, they're in there. Remember it? Look it up on Google. It's very funny. They're foundational. They're historic, and we lean on them, a bit like a hiking pole for our spiritual journeys. And we'll continue to do so for many moons to come. I've heard many of our ministers over the years identify their style of ministry according to the principle that resonates the most with them and their gifts. I'm a first principle minister, or the fourth principle defines my ministry. But for our time together today, let's open the way by taking a look and maybe a deeper dive into our seventh principle: respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. But let's stretch that web image a bit, bravely knowing that webs can be very fragile and also very sticky. But let's see how that web can instead be explored as one of the strongest threads in our lives, to give us a better perspective on the ways that we are held there, and what our part looks like in it in these unusual days. Because let's admit, we need all the sacred medicine that that web has for us. And the web of life needs every gift that you have, that each of us have to offer back. The seventh principle is so very much more than a cozy little web that serves as a safe, comfortable hammock for our lives, isn't it? The interdependent web of life that connects us to one another is the strongest, most essential lifeline on earth. And it's becoming more valuable as our interconnected lives unfold. And there are many ways to envision this, but let's look at just 3 ways. It can be an invisible thread that helps us sense the presence of another. It can be a buoy, a throw rope, tossed out to us when we feel like we're drowning. And it's one that we can throw to another that needs us and needs their connection restored. Or it can be a central line catheter that delivers the medicine that we need. The invisible string in our wisdom tale today can be found woven into any relationship that we treasure, and especially so with those that we care deeply about. So let's pause for a moment and sense the invisible thread that we know, but we can't see, between you and another person. Some believe that we're connected to every other being, but for this moment, let's pick just one person. Maybe someone who's been on our minds lately. We have so many people that we love, and it might be a challenge to focus on just one, but try. Close your eyes, think of someone, imagine the string, and pull on it. How does that feel? Does it bring a smile? Can you feel that connection? And if any of you are contacted by the person that you're connected to right now, I want to hear about it later. Because sometimes people call us and go, you were on my mind Sunday, all of a sudden, like right around 11:15. Yeah. There's an abundance of support for this theory that you can find with just a surface research or in conversation with those who have had direct experience with their personal sense of connection with others in their lives. In Chinese culture, there's a similar teaching. It's known as the red thread of fate. which cannot be seen or touched, but it's a strong connection beyond the boundaries of time, location, or circumstance, and it manifests as a bond between individuals. How many of us have reached out to someone and they tell us that they'd recently been thinking of us or were reminded of us by a song that they heard? Did you know the invisible string could play music? Probably bass, right? Some of us might be familiar with the Taylor Swift song titled Invisible String from her Folklore album in 2020. Here are a few of the lyrics. And isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me? A string that pulled me out of all those wrong arms. Something wrapped all of my past mistakes up in barbed wire, chains around my demons with wool to brave the seasons. One single thread of gold tied me to you. Beautiful. The unseen strand that binds me to my son Nicholas and my grandson Wilder has without question become a lot stronger over these past 5 days since George and I have been back home after our 2-week visit with them. The invisible threads that pull on our hearts can sometimes hurt like hell. Yet the distance is bridged by that tugging, and we'd miss it if it stopped. I'll also offer to stand in the gap for anyone who might also be distanced from their beloved ones, but feel a very strong strand of connection that cannot be seen or denied. We also stand here in honor of the other invisible strings that bind us to those who are no longer in our lives, whether due to broken relationships or by death or just misfortune. When I was near the end of my seminary studies at Drew Theological School in New Jersey, with only a few months to go, it was sometimes a huge struggle for me to get out the door to class because I didn't want to leave my husband, Robert, who was at home nearing his end of life because of cancer. But Robert somehow knew about those strong, invisible threads of the web that would hold us together no matter where I was. And he would say to me, "There's no separation. We're one, we're connected. Go to class." Maybe you too have had your beloved ones die, and somehow you still feel the tug of the unseen strands of that web of life, connecting you to them as you continue the journey of your days. It's my experience that I can still feel him pulling on that string now and then, reminding me about the interconnectedness of all and the interdependence, the invisible string that holds us all. And it is our curiosity about it and our pulling on it and our honoring of it that's our essential contribution to the well-being of our connection to spirit. The invisible string helps us sense the presence of love that envelops us and a comforting sense of belonging. I'm feeling a nudge to tell this story. Maybe it's from him. But there was a member of this congregation, and I can't remember his name right now. He used to play piano. Somebody help me out. Older man, married. Harry Raglan. Yes, thank you. Sorry, Harry. Harry Raglan had visits from my friend Kathleen Reeves as a chaplain, kind of, near the end of his days. And she asked him if he was afraid and what he was expecting. And we all know Harry. hogwash Harry, right, is what he might say to any of this conversation. But near the end of his life, Harry told Kathleen, I don't know. I don't know. But his beloved, remind me of her name, Nella, beautiful, Harry and Nella. He says, I know Nella isn't here, but I talk to her. We talk. Invisible strings are beautiful. Another way is that the unseen strands woven around us can also be that throw rope that we grab to stay afloat. I feel sad about this, but it's my observation that as members of this faith tradition, it's uncommon for us to speak about the times that we sense the help of the unseen. And even less common for us to share the stories of our experience with the kind of rescue that comes from these invisible strings and unseen strands. But let's try to change that, even if just a little bit. Let's try to be welcoming, like Harry was. Welcome the stories of those who know that they had help from the divine, that spirit of life, the sacred, or as one beloved member once called it, the ball pit. I love that. George and I sometimes call them our ghosts. He'll be going out the door and I'll say, take your ghosts with you. But how often do we yell out for that help? And I hope you do. How often do we recognize it and thank it when it comes to our rescue? I've had the experience of seeing a car coming toward me, certain that I was about to be in a crash, and I had a very loud scream for help erupt from somewhere deep inside me, and then I found myself completely out of this situation, past it. I pulled on that strand as a throw rope. Another time I experienced that rescue was during our pandemic lockdown. George will remember this. At the time, I was really struggling with my own case of COVID and trying to keep things going for the congregation online. But we were also gasping for clean air in the deluge of very dense smoke from the Bobcat fire that was above Monrovia. And then, as if that wasn't enough, there was an earthquake in El Monte. So I grabbed the throw rope and yanked on it hard, and I think my scream was loud enough to stop the shaking. But it did stop when I screamed. So please grab that strand anytime you want to say, enough already. This is too much. Thanks, Jimmy. And third way, our understanding and personal experiences within the invisible threads of the web of interdependent life don't need to be something that we're shy about or hesitant to embrace. It is entirely possible that our capacity to maneuver through the days that are coming will be dependent on our familiarity with our interconnectedness and our reliance on those invisible threads that will be holding us together and taking care of us in unusual times. There's medicine for us within the connection that we have to one another and to the invisible. And our ability to trust it and rely on it is a spiritual practice that we can build and strengthen in our lives. And it is not only the request of your minister who loves you, but it is really what we need to be doing. All of us. We can be tough souls, you use. There's little that we admit to needing, even when we do. There's not much that we can't handle, even when we can't. There's some unattainable standard of stalwart that we admire and strive for, even when our falling apart is very close to the surface. and very necessary. So let's not be so tough that we miss the opportunities to connect to the powers within the interdependent web of life, which we need to be a bigger part of in these tender times. And hear this word from the invisible threads that are woven above, beneath, and within you. It is the language of the heart, unseen, but so very important for you to hear, to really hear. Thank you for being someone who listens and who cares and who is there for others in the invisible and interdependent web of life. Thank you for putting more love into the world, even when it's hard. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being authentic and genuine. You are just the best. Thank you, and blessed be. I invite you to stand now, and we will sing our sending song together. We'll sing all 4 verses of One More Step. Up and extinguish our chalice, please. We will recite together the words of our benediction. As soon as they're up, there they are. As we extinguish our chalice flame and close our time together on this day, we take this flame with us to illuminate the unseen strands that will light our way and connect us as one in the week ahead. Lily?